Good morning, class 7th. Today we start the first chapter of history. Why first chapter? Because in earlier, you can say NCRT. This in NCRT, this chapter is not submitted. Yeah, you can say not getting the permission to teach. But now the new syllabus we have this chapter also. Okay, so we started from the chapter number 2 and we reached the rulers and buildings, and that is finished, I think. And you understand what the Mughals, yeah, the Delhi Sultanate rulers have done. Okay, now we have the first chapter, and very important and very interesting that one. And what we learn in this chapter, we learn why, how, and when the history was created. Yeah, which type of the history means which type of the people are there, and how the maps were created, how the scribes was writed their books, just like a very famous book Tabqat-e Nasri. Okay, a very famous book written by Minhaj Siraj. Okay, and what about the story behind that one? So we learn about little bit for that particular one. So today in this map, yeah, in this chapter, you can see easily which type of the map they have created. Okay, and how they have write in nowadays the map. If you are show the map, yeah, if you are see the map, so we easily learn in the different languages there, related to the state wise, but mostly they write in English. Okay, just like in India. Okay, just like in Hindi, what they have write, just like they have write Bharat. Okay, so that is the language easily understand. But which type of the language they used here? Okay, that is the name of the particular places, you can say. Okay, that is the whole language was is a very different. Okay, so we learn about that one too, and why they have influences such type of the language also. Take a look at the map 1 and 2. Map number 1 was made in the 1154 Christ era by the Arab geographer Al Idrish. The sections reproduced here is a detail on the Indian subcontinent from his large map of the world. It is the part of the large map of the world. Map number 2 was made in 1720 by a French cartographer. Now, the earlier one is the geographer, second one is the cartographer specialist, you can say, especially who learn about, yeah, who describe about the maps. The two maps are quite different even though they are of the same area. Okay, I will show you in the next map also. Yes, this one made by uh, one cartographer. Okay, yes, so that is you can easily identify, oh yes, this is a Indian map. Why? Because we familiar for that one. Okay, and if we talk about this map, this is not a perfect map. Okay, this is a imaginary map for a Al Idrish, a Arab geographer. Yeah, we can say not a cartographer. Okay, so same area. In Al Idris map, South India is where we would expect it to the find North India. So we are generally we know we have the South area having here. But in this map, if we talk about the South area, we can search in this one, in that side. So that is a little bit, you can say, awkward. Yeah, how they can create that one also, because they are not knowing that time the which is the direct direction of the map. Okay, so find North India and Sri Lanka is the island at the top, so we can identify this one is the here. Okay, now place names are marked in Arabic. Which language? That is the Arabic language. Okay, that time, because in 1154, you can say the close time of after the invention of Mahmud Ghaznavi and before the invention of Gauri. So that time the language was used here Arabic. Okay, so that's why they are using their Arabic. Okay, now you can see easily nowadays map. Okay, which one created by our our cartographer. So you can easily identify which states you are belonging and which states our coastal area also. Okay, now we learn, and there are some well-known name like the Kannauj in. Okay, so we can identify easily Kannauj here in Uttar Pradesh, spelt in the map of the Kannauj, that is the Kannauj, but Kannauj is a little bit different. Map number 2 was made nearly 600 years after map first, means 1700, during which time information about the subcontinent had changed considerably. This map seems more familiar to us, and the coastal area in the particular are surprisingly detailed. This map was used by the European sailors and merchants of their voyage. See chapter number 6. Okay, we can learn about that one in after some time. Okay, so you can easily identify this area, and the location of Sri Lanka also here, location of Andaman and Nicobar, they easily identify. This one you can see easily identify. Look at the areas in the interior of the subcontinent on the map number 2. They are detailed as those on the coast. Follow the courses of the river Ganga and see how it is shown. Why do you think there is a difference in the level of the details and accuracy between the coastal and inland area on in this map? So you can easily identify. Okay, so which one is located for Ganga? This is the Ganga river. Okay, and that is the coastal area, that is also very famous. So we can see after some time, yeah, they when the European came here and when they have learned about the cartography, yeah, they belong to the such type of the particular occupations. So the clarity is a little bit different. We can see about that one. सो मीन्स वह चीज़ आगे बढ़ती रही और वह ज़्यादा स्पष्ट होती रही. ठीक है, पहले के मैप में और अभी के मैप में आप देख सकते हैं काफ़ी अंतर है. ओके, नाउ वी टॉक अबाउट द तबकाते नासरी, वेरी फेमस बुक. Equally important is the fact that the science of cartography differed in the two periods. When the historians read documents, maps, and texts from the past, they have to be sensitive to the different historical backgrounds, the context in which information about the past was produced. Okay, sorry, that is the produced. So means you can say which type of the messages, yeah, which type of the important ideas they have given to in the future. So that will be the different one. Okay, and background also very different. Okay, if we talk about a book just like Tabqat-e Nasiri, yeah, we learned about right by Hasan Nizami. One more book, Tabqat-e Nasiri also. No, that is Minhaj-e Siraj. And one more book is there. You can say Tarikh-e Firoz Shahi, written by Firoz Shah, या Tarikh-e Firoz Shahi written by Ziauddin Barni. So the different time and different locations, different type of the subject are there, and they provide the different type of the matters also. Okay, now old and new, yeah, new and old terminology, which type of the terminology is there in the context in the which information is produced changes with time. What about the language and the meanings? Which type of the, just like I said, I told about you, the main what is the main you can say character there, and how they can influence that one particularly. So that will be learned in the next one. So historical records exist in a variety of the language which have changed considerably over the years. Medieval Persian, for example, is different from the modern Persian. The difference is not just with regard to grammar and vocabulary, the meaning of the word also change over time. Okay, so not only the vocabulary, and you can say sometimes the meaning also, the particular things are changed, because in earlier Persian is very different and now Persian is very different, you can say. Okay, so take the term Hindustan. So we have one example. Today we understand it is a India. We know about that one. Okay, the modern nation states when the term was used in the 13th century by the Minhaji Siraj, a chronicle who wrote up in Persian. Which language? In Persian. He meant that the area of Punjab, Haryana, and lands between the Ganga and Yamuna, he used the term as the political sense for the land that was a part of the domination of Delhi Sultanate only. The area included the term shifted with the extent to the Sultanate, but the time never includes South India. Okay, so I will clarify it. So we can say only this much area. That is a Hindustan. That we can say, okay, not that one. Boundary, with the boundary we can say, okay. Yes, only that area also known as the Hindustan. Okay, not a whole area. And South not mentioned in any book. South is not mentioned there. Okay, so that's why we say the term is used for Hindustan only for the Ganga and Yamuna area. You can say Haryana and the land between the Ganga and Yamuna. He used the term as the political sense, only the political sense, not a geographical sense. Okay. Now the area includes the term shifted with the extent to the Sultanate, but the term never includes the South India. By contrast, in the early 16th century, Babur used Hindustan to describe the geography. First time we can say Babur said little bit about the geography of India. Yeah, you can say Hindustan. Okay, on his book that name is Tujuke Babari, yeah, Babur Nama, written in Turkey. Okay, and their fauna and the culture of the inhabitants of the subcontinent. Okay, only for that purpose they write, and they know only the Ganga, Yamuna, and Haryana, and the part of the Delhi Sultanate that is called Hindustan. And but nowadays we have the Hindustan for the till Andaman and Nicobar, including we can say as we will see later in the chapter. This was the south, somewhat similar to the way the 14th century poet Amir Khusro used the word Hind. While the idea of the geographical and cultural unity like India did exist, the term Hindustan did not carry the political and national meaning which we associated with it today. So just like nowadays, just like we can say Bharat, India, yeah, Hindustan. So that time that is not a fixed term, and the term is not, you can say, the correctly identify India. What is India? Okay, why? Because they only use for specific states only. So Hindustan today we have to careful about the terms they use because they mean different things in the past. Take from the example a simple term like the foreigner. It is used today to mean someone who is not an Indian. That is called foreigner. Okay, just like the native of Norway, just like a native of Canada, just like a native of Nepal, also we can say, Bhutan, also Bangladesh, also. They all are the foreigners. The medieval period of foreigner was any stranger person who appeared, say, in the given village, someone who was not a part of that society of culture. That is called foreigners. Means if you are not know about the a person who is belonging to the next village, yeah, new villages, yeah, you can say unknown person, that is called foreigners. That is also known as the Pardesi. Okay, in Hindi, Pardesi might be used to describe such as the person, in Persian that is called Ajnabi. Ajnabi means we don't know about that one. Who are they? A city dweller, therefore, might have the regarded a forest dweller as the foreigner. But two peasants living in the same village were not foreigner to each other, even though they may have had different religious or caste backgrounds. They are not foreigners. But if he belonged to someone else, okay, in the particular place, they are called foreigners. So that is the little bit you can say giving example of the two words. The first one is Hindustani and second one is foreigners, Pardesi. Okay, who is not living in your country or your particular area, that is called the Pardesi. Okay, now historians and their sources, which type of the sources there, how we can identify that particular place is belonging to the medieval period, yeah, you can say Christ era. So historians are different types of the sources to learn about the past depending upon the period of their study and the nature of their investigation. Last year, for example, you read about the rulers of the Gupta dynasty and the Harshavardhan. In this book, we will read about the following 1,000 years from roughly 700 to 1750. Okay. So in class 6th, we learn about the ancient history, but in this time we learn about the medieval history, and medieval history belonging to the 700 to 1750. Okay, when the Britishers came in India. Yeah, you can say the Battle of Plassey was fought 1757. So we learn about the preparation of the battle, Plassey, you can say. Okay, and how the Britishers came and how the Britishers expanded their rules, their company, also how they trade here, and what is the strategy between for the different rulers and how they occupy the whole India. Okay, so you will notice some centuries in the sources used by historians for the study of this period. They still rely on coins, inscriptions, architectures, and textual records for information. But there is also considerable discontinuity. The number and variety of the textual records increased dramatically during this period. Now, in this period, the textual, you can say, the literature is increased. Okay, so lots of information we have. If we talk about the in ancient history, we have a limited source of literature. If they had their literature, but they are not identify which type of the language they have used. But in this time we can say the Persian language also, Arabic also, Hindi also, Urdu also we have, and English also, and lots of historians who interested to make a history or write a history. So we have a rich resource of medieval history. Okay, and now this slowly displays other types of the available information. Through this period, paper gradually become the cheaper and more widely available. People use it to write holy texts, chronicles of the rulers, letters and teaching of the saint, petitions and judicial records, and for the register of accounts and taxes. Manuscripts were collected by the wealthy people, rulers, monasteries, and temples. They were placed in the libraries and archives. These manuscripts and documents provided a lot of the detailed information to the historians, but they are also difficult to use. That is called, you can see easily, one scribes are there, is there. Okay, they are writing, and manuscripts also written in Bhojpatra, yeah, the palm leaf. Okay, and yeah, you can learn about the Tamrapatra also in Chola period. We learn, I think that one is the second or third chapter. Okay, they used when we learn about the Brahmadeya, the land granted by the king. That is also the rich source of our medieval history. Okay, so today we learn about the value of the paper. In the middle of the 13th century, a scholar wanted to copy a book, but he did not have the enough paper, so he washed the writing of a manuscript he did not want, dried the paper, and used it. A century later, if you brought some food in the market, you could be lucky and have the shopkeeper wrap it for you in the some paper. So that is the difference, you can say. That time paper is not enough. Yeah, you can say paper is not available. That's why they are writing in the washed paper. But in this time, you can say, if we something we want to yeah, in market, and we are street food we can want for the vendors, so he give us in which paper, any newspaper, yeah, you can say any pages of the notebook they can use. So that is the little bit difference about the centuries. Yeah, you can see the time. Okay, so today we learn about the only that much. Okay, now we explain the next one. For in next day we learn about the printing press and how the scribes writing started, and the credit goes to the Portuguese also for that one. The foreigners also who carry out their from their for their side in the printing press. And India, now in India the books are printed and they started their history writings. Okay, so thank you very much for today.